The Mercedes Petronas team, which has dominated most of the season, has just sent a chilling message to all its rivals. Mercedes doesn't just lead the championship, it's preparing a massive upgrade that could completely change Formula One in the second half of the year. And the scariest part is the timing chosen to reveal it. Right while in Hungary, it was living through one of the most embarrassing Fridays of its season. Trust me, because this story hides a strategy far colder and more calculated than it seems. Let's start with the bombshell. Deputy Technical Director Simone Resta confirmed that after the mandatory summer break, a truly significant update package will arrive on the W17. Not the usual small tweaks race after race, but a big step, designed to push even harder when the championship enters its decisive phase. And let's remember where this team is starting from. Mercedes has won nearly every race of the season, missing only 2. Kimi Antonelli leads the Drivers' Championship with a solid margin, a full 45 points ahead of second place, who is none other than Lewis Hamilton, a 19-year-old ahead of a 7-time world champion. In practice, the strongest team in the championship is about to become even stronger, and for its rivals, that's a nightmare. Write right now in the comments whether you think anyone will ever manage to stop this Mercedes, and subscribe to the channel, because in a moment I'll show you the dark side of the story, the part the team doesn't want to shout too loudly. Let's move on. Because behind this announcement lies a precise philosophy, and Resta explained it without mincing words. Mercedes has brought small steps forward at practically every race since winter testing, with a bigger jump in Canada, but it also admitted something interesting. Other teams have brought more new parts to the track than they have. Careful though, that's not a sign of weakness, it's exactly the opposite. Mercedes can afford to develop calmly, to think big, precisely because the car already works and wins. And Antonelli himself confirmed it with a sentence that sounds like a verdict. When you're lucky enough to have a competitive car, the team can spend more time building a complete package, instead of chasing small changes every weekend that sometimes don't even work. Translation: while the rivals run around breathlessly, Mercedes patiently builds the ultimate weapon. But right here comes the twist that makes everything much more fascinating. Because if this team is so dominant, how do you explain what happened in Hungary? If this part is intriguing you, leave a like right now, because the contrast is striking. On the Hungaroring circuit, that twisty track many call a Monaco without walls, Mercedes literally sank during the first day. Friday was dominated by Ferrari, with Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton setting the pace. And the championship leader Kimi Antonelli finished nearly 2 seconds behind, in 13th. You read that right. The championship leader, 13th. George Russell didn't fare much better, unable to get within 9/10 of his former teammate Hamilton. For a team used to printing pole positions and wins, finding itself pushed so far down the timesheets was a shock. And so the team about to revolutionize Formula One suddenly found itself with its back against the wall. How is such a collapse possible? There are explanations, and they matter. First of all, the track. Russell said that in Budapest they resurfaced half the circuit, making it really strange, with the asphalt crumbling in the final corners and unpredictable grip for everyone. Then the wind, very strong, expected to change direction and throw off the balance for everyone. And as if that weren't enough, Antonelli started with a heavy handicap, having skipped the first free practice session entirely, with Frederick Vesti driving his car in his place. A rough day, in short, but a rough day that carries weight, on the eve of the summer break. And let's not forget the context. Ferrari arrived in Budapest as the big favorite, thanks to a chassis that's very strong in medium-speed corners. Exactly the kind of corners the Hungaroring is made of. Its 14 tight, twisty corners are paradise for the Reds and hell for anyone banking everything on top speed. There's a political detail, though, that almost nobody noticed, and which I find delightful. Both Russell and Antonelli said the exact same thing, that the car was far from perfect. The two drivers, who until a few weeks ago seemed to be in open war, are now speaking with one voice. Quite the coincidence, right when the team is urging them to present a united front against a red-hot Ferrari. Coincidence? Or is it Mercedes rebuilding unity in the garage at the most delicate moment? Let's remember that just a few weeks ago, Russell was accusing the team and demanding the same car as his teammate. Now, magically, they're back on the same side. And on a team chasing the title, reuniting the two drivers at the right moment is worth as much as a technical upgrade. Turn on notifications now, because here comes the most intriguing part of the whole story, the one about the upgrade war. Because Mercedes is far from alone in this technological battle. Ferrari brought an aggressive rear wing to Hungary, chasing even more downforce for a track full of tight corners. McLaren, for its part, even tested its own version of that famous movable wing inspired by Red Bull's concept, though without intending to race it, focusing instead on a new floor to increase downforce. In practice, 3 top teams are running a parallel race, not on track, but in the development departments. And whoever wins that hidden race, the one in the development departments will decide who lifts the title at the end of the year. Because in Formula One, the championship isn't won only on Sunday. It's won in the months before, inside the wind tunnels, far from everyone's eyes. And this is where Mercedes' move becomes both brilliant and ruthless at the same time. Antonelli revealed a detail that makes everything clear. The team will bring some new parts already to Zandvoort, the first race after the break. But the real big upgrade, the one he himself called the most important of all, will arrive later in the season. In other words, Mercedes isn't showing all its cards now. It's letting Ferrari and McLaren get excited, letting them push to the max now, only to play the ace at the decisive moment of the championship. The championship leader pretending to be the hunted when, in reality, he's the hunter. And Antonelli himself played it beautifully. He admitted to almost enjoying showing up as the underdog in Hungary, exactly like what happened in Monaco. And let's remember well how that ended, with him starting from pole position and going on to win the race despite everyone writing him off. "We're not the favorites," he said, "but we weren't the favorites in Monaco either, yet we shone." A statement that's a warning disguised as modesty. Anyone who knows Formula One knows the most dangerous drivers are exactly the ones who smile while everyone else counts them out. Now put every piece together, and you'll understand why this story is so powerful. A team dominating the championship. An upgrade described as the most important of the year, kept hidden until the right moment. A disastrous Friday that serves almost as a smokescreen. 2 drivers magically united again. And a 19-year-old who loves playing the underdog exactly when he's the strongest of all. And there's one last detail that makes everything even more impressive. Despite the disastrous Friday, Antonelli will still start the weekend leading the championship no matter what happens in Hungary, and he's chasing his 7th win of the season, having already collected 6 along with 6 poles in 10 races. Numbers worthy of an absolute standout at just 19 years old. The real question isn't whether Mercedes will win in Hungary. The question is whether anyone in the second half of the season will have even the slightest hope of stopping them. Now it's your turn, and the stakes are huge. Do you think this big Mercedes upgrade will close out the championship for good, turning the dominance into a triumphant stroll? Or do Ferrari and McLaren have what it takes to turn things around and turn the second half of the season into a legendary battle? Write a single word in the comments. Dominance if you think nobody can stop the Silver Arrows anymore. Or comeback if you believe the best is still to come. We'll read every single comment one by one. And if you don't want to miss the moment this upgrade finally hits the track, subscribe to the channel right now, because we'll tell you everything before anyone else. See you in the next video.